So I need to do a quick update. So we got the John Deere done. We worked on that for a local camp. And my dad took it back. They used it for a couple hours. And we checked the hydraulic pressure. It was around 2250 in our shop, which that's being warm. We did take it out, hook it up to our bale wrapper. We had one remote on a continuous cycle spinning our bale wrapper. And then we checked the pressure on the other side. And I think we got it to around like 2,000 or 2,100. Those are still pretty good pressures. So they used it for a couple hours. He checked the pressure. It was still 2250. We're going to call it good. It very well may need something. There might be something that's going a little awry. When oil is cooler, when things are cooler, they do work better. So in the middle of the summer when it's 90 degrees and the oil is much hotter, it may not work as good if there is an issue, but it is not big enough of a deal that the tractor would need split or something major like that, which would be a very, very expensive bill. And we would not even do, we have worked on them, but we're not going to take on a job that big, especially because we have a lot of other projects that we're currently in the process of that are going to take up a lot of time. So for them, for what they do with it, it's not worth it to do anything else. They're going to run it the way it is, and hopefully it's fine for several more years. So thankfully, literally all it was just turning up that flow control and then the rod for the PTO. Back to the 806. We split it, as I showed in one of the shorts. This shaft ended up not being stripped. It was wore like our 1206. Hopefully you can see that. This being the new one, this being the old one that came out. You can tell it's wore. It's wore quite a bit. This is probably the original shaft. The one that came out of our 1206, because of the hours it has on it, I'm assuming that that's been replaced before. Well, and also because the one that we pulled out of the 1206 looked like this replacement that we were going to put in our 806. So I'm assuming that this is an original one. Our 1206 has probably been replaced once before. Our 1206 had 9,800 hours on the tack when we got it, and it didn't work then 21 years ago, 23 years ago now. Got it in 2001. This has like 5,600 hours on it, so I'm assuming that that's the original shaft. So that shaft was not split. That shaft was not stripped. So we're still not 100% sure what is the problem with the hydraulics, but we've talked to several guys, and we're actually coming to the conclusion that we think, wow, this ended up being a bigger, okay, this is our filter. We cut it apart. This would normally be, scrunched together like that if you're looking at it like an air filter. Same concept, other than this has a metal cage around it. So that's the way it looks like. We cut it, and we're going to accordion it, pull it open. So you can see that there's a lot of debris in there. I'm hoping you can, between all those creases. What we're kind of coming to the conclusion of now after talking to a couple guys is, and I'll know once we tear the PTO unit apart, I'm almost thinking when the PTO unit went bad, when it started slipping, I'm almost thinking we just completely disintegrated the clutches. And what that would have caused is for all that material to go into the filter, and then you plug your filter up. And the problem is you can't pull oil fast enough or enough volume through it to run all your functions. So my dad did say, and we weren't 100% sure, they kind of were like, well, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it's probably still a spline. He said like when he would use the remotes, when he would have a gauge hooked up and actuate it, it'd fly up to where it would normally be, which for this tractor is 1,500. It's going to be 2,250 when we're done now. Or sorry, I believe it's actually 2,300. We're going to put in a high flow pump, and we're going to put in a higher relief valve. But it would fly up, it would hit 1,500, and then immediately dive back off. Immediately fall back off. So it didn't really make that part didn't really seem to make complete sense with the splines, But we're like, well, what else could it be? Anyways, long story short, we think that the filter was getting plugged. It was able to pull a little bit of oil through to start a function, but then it was just so plugged it was not able to keep pulling the oil through. Same thing with the steering. You would start to steer, you could steer a little bit and then it'd lock up. So, in a sense, we probably wouldn't have had to split it, to be real honest. But, well, I'm glad we did. We have had the clutch slipping, and we thought, it's probably just because we're trying to really overwork it. And that was what it was, but it was a 4-button clutch, and it was actually fairly wore. So we're very happy that we're putting in a 6-button clutch, a heavy-duty 6-button clutch with a heavy-duty pressure plate. So it's going to help it keep engaged much better. So if we are working it hard like we do a lot of times, it will hold a lot better. We're also going to replace the transmission seals and the rear main while we're in here as well. So theoretically, we wouldn't have actually had to split it, but I'm glad we did. I'm glad we're doing these things now so that it is not an issue in the future. But we are actually thinking that it was the filter getting plugged up and not allowing flow through it that was actually causing all of our hydraulic issues. So kind of funny in a sense. All we would have had to do was change the filter and probably would have fixed it. Hey, hindsight's 2020. So we got the 806 split and we're putting a clutch in it. Anyways, another thing that I've kind of been forgetting to mention, we put it around the back of the barn and we just pulled it back up a couple of days ago to do some work to it, was my dad bought the 1566. So we got that in, doing some work to it. Really a pretty original tractor. Back tires are not in great shape. Same thing with the Versatile. Actually, these are in worse shape than Versatile because they got a lot of cracking. We're going to run them as long as we can. Heavy-duty duals, as I said in the short. Heavy-duty cast centers. And these are like, literally like this section right here is about 2.5, 3 inches thick. I've never actually seen a rear hub center that was that thick, that heavy. Did come with a John Deere top link. That's worth probably several hundred dollars or more. 1,000 PTO only, which is okay. And one thing that I find very interesting, because I have not found this on many 66 series, this has the original hydraulic seat and it actually works. Maybe that's not as common as it seems like to me, but most of these tractors that we come upon do not have, they may have the original seat, but normally it does not work. It does not pump up. So that seat's actually in pretty good shape, really, as you can tell. So, pretty original tractor. You know, it's just dumb stuff like this. It doesn't have the driver door. And I asked the guy, I'm like, hey, do you have that like laying around? And he goes, no, I was backing up and it swung open and hit the dual and it ripped it off. Well, there's supposed to be a piece up top that holds it from going out that far. And apparently that wasn't on or it come off or something. And again, it's little things like that. You know, that thing probably, the bolt come loose and come off and he just said, I'm not going to fix it. Well, then the door comes open, hits the dual and you rip it off. And it's like, it's the little things that cause, you know, kind of major issues. But anyways, tractor's fairly original, in actually pretty good shape. It runs really, really good. Again, had a muffler that was all bent up and broken. So we pulled that off, threw a straight pipe on it real quick. We don't really care for mufflers, to be honest with you, as long as it's a turbo tractor. And we do wear very good muffs still. But anyways, runs super good. Pretty original tractor. The paint is really rough because it has sat out like every day of its life for the last like 10 years. But gonna be a really good tractor, especially a really good tractor for the money. My dad paid $7,100 plus the buyer's premium. $7,100 plus the buyer's premium for this tractor. We did not think that was bad at all. Pretty good tractor. Oh, so one thing with the 1566. So when I was driving home from the auction, it was steering horribly. And again, it's just something really stupid. There's bushings that go on the top and bottom side of this cylinder here, and there. Or what do they call? Oh, trunnions. They call them trunnions. And they're basically just gone. Oh, I can't move it right now. We had the front end in the air and was able to move the tires. I cannot right now, but they're basically gone. And it was like $40 to order them. And it's like, it's just kind of funny stuff like that that most people don't do, but just makes life a lot easier if you do take care of it. So we're going to get that fixed. A few little knick-knack things on the cab. We found a door at a salvage yard for $300. Not sure whether we'll pick that up or not, but we'll see. So pretty good tractor all around. And again, as I've said, especially for the money he paid for it. Well, another thing we're going to do while the 806 is in here is pull the PTO and put new clutch packs in it. They are definitely pretty smoked, we're thinking. So I already got all the bolts out, got the chain hooked to the hoist, and we're gonna start pulling it out. All right, we got the shop vac out, and we are gonna work on vacuuming out the cab because it is filthy, filthy, filthy. So not a fun job, but one that's got to be done. We're gonna get to it. All right, we got a lot vacuumed out, cleaned up the whole floor. Fluid filmed it. I left that spot kind of bare right there a little bit. You could see the floor is horribly, horribly rusty. So we cleaned it all out. I dug off as much scale as I could, and then we fluid filmed underneath, put the mat back down. Eventually, I'm going to get another mat, but for right now, we're going to run that. Cleaned up the steering column and some stuff up there quite a bit. It is looking a lot better. Good enough for now, because we want to try to get to do some disking here very soon. All right, so we're getting all the filters ordered. There was a filter in there. And we also had to pull a set of tires off. This inside tire on this side, and I kind of had heard that it might be bad. It was bad. I shouldn't say it was bad. It has a hole on the inside where it was sliced, and we are going to put another tire on that we have, just so that all four of the inside mains are in good shape. I'm going to see if the tire shop can boot it so that we can put it on as maybe a dual on the back corner or this front corner up here. But I at least want all the inside tires, they call that your mains. Your inside tire, they call your main, and then you have your dual. I want all of my main tires to be in decent shape so that, you know, if I have an issue, it's going to be a dual going flat and not one of my main tires. Once that is switched around to the inside, I'll have all very good, decent inside tires, and I'll feel much better about that. All right, so we got most of our micronutrients in, and then also some companion products. We'll be getting a little bit more, but this is most of it. So we got a mini tote of, that's boron, mini tote of manganese, zinc, and then we also got some 2.5 gallon twin packs of the same, and then also some other things, Lex being one, and a few other products. So getting ready for the 2024 planting season. Pretty excited. It will be here before we know it, and very glad to get this stuff on hand to have it just to be ready. So we got them all put away till spring, all tucked away. The Versatile is serviced. Got all the filters changed, fuel filters, big oil filter here, oil filter on the other side, coolant filter, new engine oil, new hydraulic oil, new hydraulic filters, inner and outer air filter, and I did not get to the transmission. I still got to do a little look and figure out how to do that, so we're not going to do that today. The sun's still been shining. I'm hoping maybe tomorrow we could do a little disc, and we'll have to see. But I got all that done. I checked all the differentials, or sorry, the two differentials and the four planetaries. They at least have oil in them, so we're good to go with that. We're going to try to do a little discing tomorrow if we can. If not, we'll do some more work to it. If we can, we'll do that work, and then we'll continue. We'll do the few other things later on that we have to do. I still want to drain all the planetaries, drain the differentials, put new 75 145 or 75 140 gear oil in, and then I also want to service the transmission. Other than that, it's pretty good. We just filled it up, 130 gallons of fuel, 130 gallons of fuel, and yeah, we should be good to go. So if that sun keeps staying out over there, we'll hopefully be able to do some discing tomorrow. We'll see. So actually, it was 155 gallons of fuel. It had 30 gallons of fuel in it. I put 155 gallons of fuel in it to fill it up. It holds around 185 gallons. It ended up raining this morning, just a little bit, but enough that we won't be able to disc today. So we actually are supposed to have nice weather though now for the next like 4 days. So we're gonna see. I'm still hoping we can do some discing. If we can do the discing, we'll do the discing and then finish up the service. If we are gonna end up not being able to disc, we'll get it back over to the garage, change the transmission fluid, and change all the planetaries and change the 2 differentials. Got our 4010 Deere in. Had to put a new alternator on it. Got that on. And then we're gonna change the oil and change the fuel filters while we got it in here. Other than that, it's good to go. Grease it, little things like that. Didn't get a whole lot done today. For us, we ended up going and helping one of our landowners dig up a water line and fix that. It was leaking his city water. It's a 30 some acre field, and it's not really in the city, but he has city water. So he had a water line leaking. We got that fixed so that it's just not, it was making the field terribly muddy and that kind of a thing, but then also he was having to pay for it. So we worked on that, got that fixed today. So I got a trailer I got to work on tomorrow for my brother, and then we will get back on the 806, which is on the other side of the phone. Definitely staying busy this time of the year, even though it's technically the slow time. There's never really a slow time, but that's all right because we like what we do, so it makes it a lot easier. All right, well, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Comment if you have anything, any questions or anything you want to comment about. And thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.